Hello. Welcome to class, folks. It's really good to be here with you in the 30-minute session today. If this class is recording and you're watching it on the website, I hope that you find it at a good time. Today we're going to practice 30 minutes of Hatha yoga. In the past, we've kind of themed it to certain areas of the body, but today we'll try to keep it in a more broad way, in a more broad sense. So lots of different poses for the different areas of the body. Press play on your playlist if you haven't done so yet. Get the music rolling. And then I'd like you to find a comfortable upright seated position. Now you can see I've got a bolster underneath my bum here. That's going to help me just because I like to sit just a little bit elevated with the hips. But each person has their own personal preference. So if you don't need a bolster or a block, then don't use one. I want you to then just take your hands and place them behind your head and lift your heart so that your spine lifts into the hands a little bit. Back of the head pressing. And let's take a full breath in here. And exhale, you're going to round your spine and kind of look down. Elbows come together. Look down at the feet. And then inhale, reach it back open with the heart. Look up at the ceiling a little bit or any height that works for you. And then exhale, coming back in. So these are called seated cat-cow. And so we're doing this with our breathing. Inhale opens up the heart. Elbows wide. Exhale, elbows close together. And we become more closed off in the front of the body. And then inhale, open again. Heart lifts, looking forwards. We'll do this just 3 more times with our own pacing of breath. So you can close the eyes. And just get into that sensation. Breathing in and out through the nose. One more time. Awesome. And then relax the hands beside you and put your left hand out to the left side. Place it down on the floor. Reach the right arm up and over top of your head. We're just going to hold this seated side stretch for a few breaths. So the purpose of this posture is to kind of stretch open the right-hand side of the body. So kind of from the armpit down towards the intercostal muscles that help you breathe in the rib cage area, and then down into the side abdominal muscles just above the hip. So we're stretching out that right-hand side. Some people put the hand behind the head, and then that is a nice sensation for them to get into the armpit just a little bit differently into the armpit there. Sometimes when I put my hand there, then I'll just reach my elbow a little bit. All right, let's come back up, lifting the hand above us, right hand up, and then the right hand down right beside our body. We'll do this exact same thing on the opposite side. So the palm supports. You can put it as far or as close to your hip as you want to. It's really your personal preference. You're just feeling it out. And then the left hand goes up and over top, and we're feeling that stretch along the left-hand side torso, armpit, side of the body somewhere. Now, also how you lean forwards and back with the torso can change where the stretch is. Like if you have a tight side and you're trying to figure out where to release that tightness, then you might need to explore. Move the hand forwards, reach forwards with the top hand. Pull the right hand back behind you, reach more up, open the chest, right? Look up at the ceiling maybe. There's lots of different ways we can get into that left-hand side stretch. And let's come back up with an inhale, reach the left arm up. And the hand down just beside you again. We'll move into a seated twist from here. So we're going to bring the right hand across to the left knee. And the left hand just kind of slowly walks behind or beside our body. I usually like to say it's more beside because our shoulder doesn't have anything to do with twisting. Like our twisting is in our torso, in the spinal vertebra. So sometimes putting the hand super far, putting that left hand way behind you, can just jam up the shoulder blade. And for some people, I'd be in that category. It actually restricts my breathing slightly when I do that. So I tend to kind of put my hand just more to the side and then leave the chest kind of open and really being able to breathe across the nice broad collarbones. Breathe into the back of the body. Let the shoulder blades expand. And let's come back to the center and we'll try twisting or rotating the other direction. So you're just gonna move back to forwards facing. And then the right hand will go beside you and the left hand will go on top of the right knee or somewhere over there just to kind of anchor and hold. And then we'll just rotate. And primarily, we're starting from the bottom and moving up. And our rotation capabilities increase as we go up the spine. So our low spine doesn't twist a lot. And then our mid spine and upper spine, they start to twist more. And then some people will really feel the ability to look over the right shoulder with the neck rotation as well. Let's try to find 2 full breaths in this twist here as we finish off. And let breath take you back to the center. So as you inhale or as you exhale, just coming back to the center point. All right, we're gonna take our hands, we're gonna interlace them, but behind us. So I'm gonna change perspective just for you so that you can see this pose just a little bit differently. We're still cross-legged. And the hands are now gonna go behind our body and they're gonna interlace. And we're gonna press them down and back behind us. Now we're gonna combine this action with a forward fold in the spine. So we're gonna take our spine forwards. And we don't have to lean very far. Like some people, this is as far as they really can or want to go. Other folks might fold more so the forehead comes towards the yoga mat or the floor. And then the fingers and knuckles press up. And we'll just hold this for about 6 breaths. Remember that we should never really overdo anything in the yoga practice. So even if you're as far as you got, and then a breath into it, you're like, I don't know about this one. I want you just to back out. Just back out of it a little bit, especially if it's a posture that you've never done before or movement that you haven't done. This is about exploration, not about progressing to a particular stage or anything like that. Just exploration. And then let's just take one more breath. And then exhale, lifting the spine up and relaxing the hands and the arms. You should feel kind of like you just were able to open up on the tops of the shoulders a little bit with that pressing down. Now let's move into a kneeling position, please. So just take the bolster, if you have it, out from underneath of you, and then kneel on the hands and on the knees. Now we're going to feel this kneeling cat-cow. So we're inhaling and looking forwards. And exhaling and looking down and rounding the spine upwards. It's like a big hill of the spine. Inhale forwards, the spine makes a little valley, opening up the belly. And exhale, rounding the spine up, opening up the mid-upper spine. Let's do 3 or 4 more cat-cows with breathing. Now, you can move the feet with this too. So some people put the tops of the feet on the floor, they look forwards. And then they put the toes in the floor and they round the spine up. And then they flip the feet again, looking forwards. And then toes under, rounding up. Or just leave the toes out of it and just do the spine stuff. Really allowing yourself to breathe here is important. This is a breath movement practice that we're doing here. So we're really trying to associate the moving that we do with breathing. Let's do one more of those. Breathing forwards, opening heart. And breathing back up, rounding spine. All right, come to a neutral spine. We're going to move into a downward facing dog from here. So curling the toes under, and you're going to lift your hips all the way up into any height and bend the knees a little bit if you want to. Let's find 4 breaths as we hold downward facing dog. It's a pretty challenging posture actually. And if it's a little tough for you, what I want you to do is just come out of it for a moment and then come back into it. It's totally fine. It's not endurance here, right? We're going to move into low lunge from our down dog. So I want you to kick your right leg up. Inhale. Kick up. You could hold for a second here with me if you want to, kicking up through the heel, lifting the leg high. And then on your next exhale, I'm going to get you to draw the knee to the nose and then step your right foot somewhere near your hand. It doesn't have to be all the way forwards. Then you're going to just lift yourself up onto the fingers and relax the back foot onto the floor. So we're in this position that we call low lunge. Or in yin, if you do lots of yin, you might know it as dragon lunge. So for dragon, we can bring the hands up onto the thigh rather. And then we're allowing the hips to come slightly forwards, and we're stretching out on the front of the left hip. That's the primary area that we're looking for a stretch. Now, some folks will prefer to do this on the fingers, or some folks will heel toe this foot wider, and they'll actually go down onto their elbows. I'm not in this category of individuals. The elbows, too far away from me. I need something to elevate the elbows just a bit. So I usually opt just to have my fingers on the ground or something and searching for that cross groin stretch. And just breathing in and out through the nose. It's really normal to feel a little bit fiery in this stretch sometimes. If that's the case for you, you can shorten the stance a little bit now. Maybe have the back toes curled under if the knee is getting sore. Or another way you can protect that knee is just to kneel on a soft towel or blanket. Let's just take one more breath in. And sigh it out the mouth. Sighs are nice. All right, let's activate our back leg and go back to downward facing dog, okay? So you're gonna lift up the back knee and then press your way back to tabletop or downward facing dog. Okay, we're gonna go on to the left side. Let's kick up the left leg, breathe in. Holding that leg high in the sky. Taking just 2 more breath patterns here in the one-legged downward facing dog. And on your exhale, drawing the left knee to the nose now. Pull through and then step with the left foot, just anywhere that you're comfortable. You can readjust as you get into it. All right, so spending that time to just readjust, maybe bringing the hands up onto the thigh. If you want to do this more elevated style of lunge, it's a great place to start as well. I didn't say last time, but a great tip for protecting the knee or softening underneath the knee is just folding the yoga mat over like this. And then kneeling on that squishier, doubled up mat. And then, yeah, you can come down if you want to any different version that kind of we went over before. Looking for that cross groin stretch. So we're feeling it on the front of the right hip and then underneath the left side groin. Up into the hips. Got to say, having the mat doubled over feels a lot better for my knee. It's just this like a little bit more gentle feeling, like I don't feel any pressure building inside of the knee there. And for me, that's nice. If your wrists sometimes get sore having them on the floor, you could substitute with fists. Put the fists down instead of the bare palm. And that can sometimes just give us the ability to stay in this posture just for that little bit longer, because that's maybe what the hips want, but the hands might have a hard time with it. So we just give it a break. Let's just take one more breath in this low lunge, folks. Deep breath in. And a sigh out the mouth. Make a little noise. It's all good. Now let's come back to downward facing dog. So I'm going to let my mat uncurl or unfold. And then the right leg gets active. So we're going to lift the back knee off the floor and then just go back up to tabletop or downward facing dog. A little bend in the knees helps a whole lot in down dog. All right, let's walk to the top of the mat. Just slowly tiptoe, walk up all the way, and stand up onto your feet. From the top of the mat, hold the hips. Step back with your right foot, and heel toe open a little bit wider so that you're approaching your warrior two kind of distance in the feet. So the feet are as far apart as you want them to be for your warrior. And then you're going to level off your arms, lift them, and look forwards over top of the left hand, and then lunge forwards, knee over ankle. An old rule of thumb was to keep your feet as if they were on one railway track. Like the heel lined up with the back heel perfectly. Now, I like to throw that rule out the window because it's not very accessible biomechanically for a lot of different people. So different people have to have different foot positions, like this front foot and also the back foot. In, back, sideways, really rotate it in. There's so many different versions. I just want you to know that you don't have to box yourself in. You can just feel the pose the way that your body was really designed to be in the pose. That goes for the arms too. We don't need to open so much. We can just find that perfect kind of sensation for our biomechanics, our design of our body. So we're going to switch sides, and we're just going to kind of stay with our wide legs. So I want you to put your hands to your hips, straighten your left leg, turn your toes sideways, and then turn your right toes to face what was the back of your yoga mat just 2 moments ago. How long a moment is, I don't know, but it was 2. Now level off your arms to the floor and lunge your right knee forwards over your right ankle. It's okay if you can't see the video anymore. You're just doing warrior 2 on the other side of your body. Maybe closing the eyes can help you really tune in and feel where you want to be in space with your body. Increasing our body's ability to feel itself in space is known as our proprioceptive awareness, our feeling of where our body is and how we feel about the sensations of the body. And yoga is so amazing at helping people get more into their bodies. So what a lovely thing. We're just trying to feel our bodies the way that they want to be. Trying to make it feel comfortable. It's just a little bit challenging at times if we want that. Let's just take 1 or 2 more breaths in this side of our warrior 2. And then we're going to put our hands to the hips there. Straighten out the front leg, the lunging leg. And let's turn our toes to face sideways now. So all the toes are facing one direction. And we can have the toes turning out a little bit or turning in a little bit. That's fine. Anything of those little micro adjustments. And now put the hands in the hips, bend your knees, and hinge the hips forwards like you're pouring out a bowl of water, just tilting the bowl forwards. And the pelvis is the bowl. So you're tilting, back of the pelvis lifts, front of the pelvis is folding. And you can bring the hands to the floor if you want to, or you can keep them on the hips or outer thighs. Let's take a full breath in and a full breath out. Let the head hang down. Another one, full breath in. Full breath out, head hangs down. And one more time. Now we're going to walk our hands back to the upper thighs and lift the spine up all the way nice and tall. Heel toe the feet closer together. Keep coming in until you're standing. And we'll just do a little bit of free form movement here. And it's just a little bit of a sway side to side. So I want you to just get into the feeling of the body, letting the arms sway. Even if it feels awkward or strange, the first time I did this, I felt a little weird about it, but it's okay. And we're going to let that swing graduate bigger and bigger. And our arms are just wet noodles. We're not really doing too much. I like to protect my knees by turning to the side with my toes. And that just prevents the knee from getting too much twist in the knee. So we're just exploring. And maybe the hand wraps around to the shoulder or the back. And we'll just do one or two more either side. 1 and 2. And then just naturally slowing down with just natural momentum. And we'll come into Reclining Hero at the top of the mat. So turn forwards on the mat, kneel down on the ground, toes touch together, and then lean back onto your hands or elbows. You can also do this one leg at a time if you want to, but this is how I'm going to guide the posture today. And you can also put bolsters underneath the back body to support. So you might grab something like this, put it up just behind the spine, and then maybe that's where you can kind of lean on to with the spine. Now, we want to find that nice amount of sensation. We're not pushing too hard. We're at, a bearable stretching sensation. It's tough to put a number to these things, but, not 10 out of 10. We're trying to feel the stretch into the quadriceps. If you are happening to be doing this one leg at a time, please switch sides now. And we'll just be in the posture for another 30 seconds or 45 seconds or so. So I usually feel this in a few different regions. I feel in the quadriceps for sure, but sometimes if my quadriceps don't need the stretch as much, I'll feel it like in the foot or in the ankle, or sometimes in the hip flexors, so on the front of each hip. So depending on what your body did this week, what you did today, these things will totally change how your body responds to the postures. So just be open. Doesn't need to be like it was last time. Last 3 breaths in this posture. And if you want to, you could come a little bit further for those last 3 breaths, just exploring. And then I want you to slowly come back up. If you're on your elbows, you could replace elbows with palms and then walk your way closer to your knees there. And then we'll come into a posture called Pigeon. You can also do thread the needle instead, but I'll guide Pigeon. So you're starting in tabletop, and you're going to kick your right leg back. Inhale. And exhale, draw the knee forwards, touch it to the right wrist or that area, and then swivel the right shin to the left side diagonally underneath of your pelvis. So the right leg ends up being at an angle, the knee is close to the hand, and the foot is angled underneath the groin. Our target stretch is the right side bum, but we can feel a lot of different areas here too. So if you want to get a nice fold coming down, you'll feel it in the spine, upper spine. And if you want to feel it in the left hip more, then you come up onto the fingers. And then we might feel something on the front left hip, in the front of the groin area. So again, it depends. There's so many different ways we can do these yoga poses, which is part of the beauty about coming back to the postures. Can definitely feel a need for myself to stretch out that front left hip a little bit more today. So being up on the fingers, pressing down with the shin is really effective for me. And I can actually, you can press down with both shins if you want to feel just that little bit more stretch into the hips. Let's take one more full breath in. And a sigh out the mouth. If you're quite lifted like me, come down just a bit. And if you're down, come back up a bit. And let's go back to downward facing dog or tabletop. So you can choose. I pretty much always just choose tabletop because it feels best. Now let's go to the opposite side. So we're going to inhale, kicking into the left leg back. You can do this from down dog or tabletop. Exhale, draw the left knee to the left hand. Then swivel that left shin kind of diagonally underneath of the right side hip, and then let the right leg relax, just back a little bit. And then choose if you want to lift higher up onto the hands, elevating the torso and spine. You can even, like some people will put the hands closer to the hips and be even higher up, or you can come on down and try the version on the elbows. Sometimes that lifted pigeon can kind of be fiery on the hands as well. So if you're feeling too much pressure in the wrists, just come on down into the elbows near the last 30 seconds or so here. The thing that's not talked about so much in yoga is bone density. And putting our hands and our bones down on hard surfaces is proven to increase our bone density. So when we have the hip with a block under it, it helps increase the structure of the bone. The body has a response that it's sent to saying, let's make this area denser. And it's been really good for people with osteoporosis because it helps them increase their bone density. So having a little bit of compression that you feel is not a bad thing. Let's go back to tabletop or downward facing dog. So curl under the right toes underneath that foot, and then walk it back to tabletop position on your hands and knees, or take a down dog. And the next, final, and last posture we'll do is called Shavasana, and it's one of the sweetest postures that we do. We're going to lay down on the back, let the head rest down on the floor or on a pillow or yoga bolster. Relax the shoulders. And then we'll do 3 little movements to help our spine find a more relaxed position. So the first thing we're going to do is lift the pelvis just slightly off the floor and just let it back down. This should kind of flatten things down on the floor just a bit. So just lift up the pelvis, relax it back down, and re-extend the legs. Then we'll do something in the mid-spine. You're going to kind of lift the heart, then lift the head. And you can do that in the reverse order now. So you're trying it from top down. So you're going to just lift the head, put it back down. Feel the back of the neck lengthen. The chin tucks a little bit. Then again, lift your heart just an inch and let the shoulders slide down from the neck. And then lift your hips and let the legs extend all the way along. These 3 movements can really help people find a really long feeling Shavasana, like they're kind of getting stretched out on the mat. And kind of just sinking down. And so we've reached the official ending point of our class this evening for this 30-minute session today. As usual, it's such a pleasure to be here with you in your space and have a little slice of you into my space. I'm always open to answer your questions about postures or anything that you might need. Thanks again, and I will see you tomorrow. We'll be practicing a flow class or a vinyasa class at 9 o'clock in the morning. Take care, and namaste. You can stay in your Shavasana for a little longer if that's a nice place for you to be.